guys, so it has been forever since I've been on here to show you guys anything or talk to you. So today I am at home doing the whole like self-quarantine or isolation thing, and I wanted to share with you guys a plant haul because the plants are really helping me right now. It's giving me something to do, keep occupied, kind of keep my mind off of what's going on in the world. So before I get into that, I just want to say thank you to all you guys. I've been getting emails and messages and things, just checking on me, making sure since I've been off that everything is good. And everything is good. It's just my life changed so much after we lost Macy that, I don't know, I felt like I needed to take a step back, and I still don't know if I'm coming back to YouTube like big time. I just kind of wanted to stop in and let you guys know what I'm up to. So I live in New York State, which I think I've mentioned before, probably about an hour and a half outside the city. So I'm a nervous person anyways, and this has gotten me like really scared. And then Friday, finally, my business shut down, decided to shut down for the duration of this thing. So I'm at home, and I will be going out later today because our company manages a senior building, and I've been sanitizing their common areas to kind of try and keep them safe during this. So I will be getting out today just to do that, and while I'm out, I'm going to bring my plants off my desk and just bring them home for this too, because I don't want to lose them all. But that being said, I was thinking, you know what, I'm going to show plants. Maybe I picked up 5 since like the beginning of the year, and then I just set them all on the table so they're behind you guys and I can see them now. And I had completely lost reality with how many I've picked up. So this is going to be probably like a 20-minute video, I would guess. So I'm going to kind of go through them. If I have care tips, because some of them I've had since like December and January, I will let you guys know what I'm doing that works or doesn't work. First, I have 2 things that are plant related but not actual plants. So I picked up this puzzle when it started to look like things were going to be shutting down. I wanted to have some things to do, and I picked this guy up from Terrain, and they have pretty quick shipping. I think I got it in like 3 days. I already did it, but I saved it because I'm going to do it again. You know, give it a few months and I'll do it again. And then the other thing I picked up was this book. This was just released last Tuesday, but I've been waiting for it to come out. It's by the same people who wrote Urban Jungle, and I was listening to them on a podcast. I listened to Jane Perrone on The Ledge, and she had them on there talking about the book. And a fun fact that they shared that I mean, I can totally see it now, but I never really put 2 and 2 together. This book is inspired by like terracotta. So, I mean, you guys can see the color, but it's also textured. It's textured just like a terracotta pot. So I've got this. I'm about halfway through, and I would highly recommend this book. This is a fun one to read. It's got some like, not so much care. It's more about like bonding with your plants, you know, kind of like appreciating the collection you have and not coveting other people's so much. And then it's also got a lot of pictures of people's homes and to kind of share how they style plants in their spaces. Okay, so the first one I picked up was a Norfolk pine. I picked this guy up the day after Christmas, I remember, because I went out to get some wood for a project, and Home Depot had these guys on sale because obviously Christmas is their season. I was happy that this wasn't one of the ones with glitter on it. And my grandma has one of these that's probably close to 3 or 4 feet tall. She's been growing it so long. So that's what I was kind of inspired by, to get one and see if I could do it too. So far he's been doing good. I put him in pretty much the same soil that I would put most of my tropical, like philodendron, normal type plants. So it's about, I would say 2/3 of potting mix, 1/3 perlite, and then I just mix some orchid bark in until it's kind of fluffy looking. And then the next plant I picked up at Home Depot was this Asparagus Fern. And this one's actually like a Ming Asparagus Fern, I think. And just the other day, it shot out this. So I'm trying to figure out, I don't know if this is new growth or if this is going to be like a flower. I'm thinking it'll fill out and be new growth, but it's so much taller than the rest. So I'm kind of interested to see what that's going to do. And this guy, I keep him moist. I don't let him dry out like the other plants. And he's in my bathroom, so he'll get humidity in a west window. But the west window is also kind of frosted. So it's like a filter, not a full-on light to scorch his foliage. But anyways, I have him sitting on a humidity tray, and he goes through that pretty quick. So I would say these guys like humidity, so if you have a room like a bathroom, or else set up a humidifier, or a little pebble tray to go with them. Okay, so now we're going out of order. I don't really have complete timelines for all of these guys, but I'm going to show you some of the plants I picked up from Costa Farms. So they did this Trending Tropicals collection, and if you're part of like the plant community or you follow plants, you've probably seen about it. They did a bunch of plants that normally would be rare and hard to find, and they have been working on, you know, getting them ready for the public. So it came out, I want to say sometime in February, and certain stores were getting it, certain ones weren't. I spent probably 2 weeks driving to all the Lowe's, Home Depots, Walmarts, all within like a 40-mile radius of me, like a crazy person. It ended up coming to my local store, and I picked up 2 plants, and my husband got me another for, I think it was Valentine's Day. So the first one is this Raven Zizi, and this is the one I was looking for. Zizi plants are really easy to take care of. You can see the new growth comes in kind of green. And this one, as soon as I got it, I repotted it. I know they say to wait, but I got it from Walmart. There was water sitting in the bottom of it here, and it was in more of a peat-based soil. And I was afraid that I weighed the options. I figured it was better to repot it and get it out of soggy soil than it was to let it kind of acclimate, and so far so good. So this is in what I use for my cacti and succulents. It's a 50-50 mixture of perlite and potting soil. The next one I picked up is the Calathea mosaica, and this one has really, really pretty patterning on the leaves. And I've had this guy probably, like I said, about a month and a half now. In my experience, this is one of the easier Calatheas to care for. You can see it doesn't have the typical like browning and stuff. My Orbifolia is very temperamental. I have to keep that one constantly humid, constantly moist, but not too wet, not too dry. And the leaves still brown anyways, no matter what I do. But this guy has been really easy. I've got them all set up in the same area. They are on a pebble tray. I have a humidifier in the corner by all the plants. And the Calathea have their own little, I used an oil diffuser, but just put water in it. So it's like a mini humidifier just to kind of bump it up for a few hours. And they're all sitting together in that. And this guy is loving that. And then the one that my husband picked me up, I think it was Valentine's Day, is the little Fiddle. So this is a Ficus lyrata compacta, I think they called it. And basically it's like the fiddle leaf fig, but you can see the leaves are a lot smaller and it's a lot shorter and bushier. So I really don't know, like long term, if this will turn into a tree or anything, but I'm kind of excited to see how it does. And I have this guy sitting. I have a southern window, and he's off to the side, kind of like hidden behind the curtain area. So he gets bright sun, but it's not like blasting his leaves. Okay, so these next two I'm going to show you are probably the ones I was most excited over. Around Valentine's Day, my husband and I went on a thrifting trip in Connecticut, and every time I go up there, I have to stop at Terrain because it's like the best plant store. So I have been looking for a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma for, I don't know, a few months since I've seen them out. And I've seen them at my local kind of like nursery. They wanted $90 for one that was on a trellis, which, I mean, I don't know. To me, that's too much, especially once I have this plant now and I've realized how fast it grows. So this is what mine looks like. And when I went into Train, they also had them on a trellis, and it was, off the top of my head, I want to say like more than 150. I think it was like 200, and that was not going to happen. So I was kind of like a little bit bummed. And then I happened to just see this guy sitting on a shelf, and he was a smaller size. He was $30. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, so since I've brought him home, let me see if I can find it. This leaf here is new. This one here that's unfurling is new. And then the same over here. This one is new right there. And the little tip you can see unfurling. So I've had him home for about a month, and it's already putting out 4 new leaves. So I have a feeling that this will be one that'll grow really well. And I set up a little corner for him. It's actually right off the side here, and it doesn't get any direct sun. There's a window directly in front of me. I'm trying to describe this to you as I sit. So it's not getting any sun directly hitting it. It's in this bright room, but I went out and I bought it like an LED plant lamp, and I have it all set up where it's got the trellis behind it, so as it starts to climb, it'll be able to climb. The leaves will be bigger if you let it climb. So I've got this whole area set up for it. As it grows, it can kind of like grow into its own little area. It's got the LED light, which I leave on probably at least 16 hours a day for it. I do it overnight. I don't, because I'm afraid to leave on the lights like that when I'm gone. I don't want to start a fire. But I honestly, I don't know. I haven't figured out yet. I don't think it matters to them if their day-night cycle is different than ours. I haven't noticed any difference, and I've been doing it with some plants upstairs for the whole winter. So it seems to be okay that his lights are on when our lights are off. It doesn't seem to be bothering him. And then the other one I picked up was a Hoya Poobah Calyx. So my husband is like the best person in the world, let me just tell you. So the first day on the way up, we stopped at Terrain because it's probably like a half an hour out of the way. So we stopped, and that way I could get the plant I wanted. And I saw the Hoya Poobah Calyx, which I'll show you guys while I'm talking about it here. And I liked it, but it was literally like we haven't even made it to our hotel or any of the thrift stores. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to wait because I don't know what, you know, I want to save my money. And then the next day I struck out at the thrift stores. Nothing really thrilled me. And I just kept thinking about this. And I was like, you know what, I'll just borrow the car and go on my own because it's not that big of a deal. He offered, so he took me again to get the Hoya. And I know he didn't want to drive out there, but he did because I'm like a crazy plant lady and he indulges me. So I picked this guy up. He was, I think, 35. He was actually more than the Rhaphidophora, but I recently just started getting a few Hoyas and I really like them. So I treat it like a succulent so far. It's been good. I actually haven't watered it since I brought it home. I repotted it, I watered it, and then pretty much it hasn't needed it yet. I use this moisture meter. I wait till it gets down to like the number 1 where it's dry. I don't wait until the leaves crinkle because I feel like that is too stressful for the roots to do that over and over. So I don't wait until the leaves get wrinkly, but I do wait until it's at a 1 on the moisture meter. And right now I have him hanging in a southeast type window, so he gets bright sun pretty much from morning until about 2 o'clock. And so far so good with him. I picked up 2 more Calatheas also because I was building out that little Calathea corner is what I call it. So these I picked up at my local nursery, that same one that had the Rhaphidophora for $90. So I picked up this one, and this is just the regular Maranta, I think Leucanura, maybe Kirchoviana. They just put it as foliage, but I think that's what it is by searching. And I haven't repotted this. I got it back in like January. I am always kind of hesitant to repot the Calathea and the Maranta because I feel like they really seem to do good in this really heavy peat soil that the nurseries and things use. So I try and leave them in that as long as possible. So this is also another one, if you're just starting out with Calathea or Maranta, they're pet friendly. This is one that really does that neat folding up action. Like this was one that does it very pronounced. So you like if you want to get a plant, if you want to get your kids into plants, this is a good one because it's non-toxic. It really folds up a lot at night, so it's kind of fun to watch. And you have less of a chance of killing it by overwatering and pampering. The next one is this Calathea here, and I believe this is a medallion. So this is another one that's a little bit harder for me. You can see I had to trim some of these crinkly brown patches out. It did put out 1 new leaf since I brought it home, which also you can see has some browning. But I mean, I guess with Calathea, that's just kind of like a part of life. But I love the patterns on this, and that also goes in that corner with the rest of the Calathea. Okay. Oh, for Valentine's Day, my mom got me a plant this year. She bought me this Anthurium, and I've never had an Anthurium before. Now, this I know it's just the basic one with like the red flowers, but I'm really excited for it. I see all the hauls where the people are doing like all these fancy ones like the crystallinum and all those fancy ones, and I would love to get one of those, but I want to know if I'm suited to Anthuriums, like if my house is right. Do I have the humidity? Do I have the light? So to start with one that's a little more common, I think is a good idea to kind of ease in. So I have this guy, and this is the one that basically has the red flowers. I did cut them off because I'm more of a foliage girl. So I left them on for a few days and then I trimmed them off. And I know it's technically not a flower, just the little like middle part that goes up is. I think the rest is called Asparagus maybe. Don't quote me on that. I'm just going off the top of my head. But I don't know. I just like this. And then I have it in a thrifted basket that I found. This too is still in its nursery pot because I've been doing some research on the soil that I want to put it in eventually. But for now, it's doing really good in this one. So the next one I'm going to show you guys is a plant that Nick Pileggi made me get. I was watching his plant haul. I think that's snow falling off the roof. We have a metal roof, so it slides down heavy. Okay, so anyways, he was showing his newest plant haul, and he showed this plant called Tradescantia Nanook. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, it was so cute. I liked the purpley pink colors and the green, and I liked that it was a succulent. So if you could feel these leaves, they're kind of more squishy than the traditional Tradescantia. And it just so happened he showed this. I had it on my wish list because I keep a little list. And I went into Home Depot, I think a week and a half after that video, and they had this display of new hard to find succulents. So they had like string of dolphins, they had string of hearts, they had a few other things, but then they had this. And I think it was like $5 or $6, so it was a really good price. And I was just really excited to find it. So this one I have planted up in my succulent soil. And I know you can't touch the leaves actually, but they are a bit more plush and succulent than the traditional foliage type ones. Okay, so we are down to like the final 8. The next 2 I'm going to show you are actually cuttings. They're down to cuttings. So the first is the Hoya Linearis. I have been wanting one of these. I found cuttings, rooted cuttings on, I think it was eBay. They were probably about 20 inches long when they started, so I had like different ones throughout the pot. I think I underwatered this maybe. I was so scared to overwater it, and then I let it dry out, I think. The stem closest to the soil got kind of brown and crunchy. So I took as many cuttings as I could quick, and this is what I've got going, and they are starting to root, so give it a shot again and see what happens. This next one is a cutting that I potted up, and it's looking a little rough, but I'm gonna give it a few more days to see if the leaves will plump up, and then if not, I think I'll pull it out and put it in water and try and water propagate. You can see the leaves are kind of looking a little smushy, and I'm thinking they're too dry. This is called an NorthOnCapensis. It's also called a ruby necklace. So it should be like trailing and long, almost like a string of bananas or something, but the strands are actually like a pink purple color. That's why the ruby part. So we got that. And then let's see. Oh, here we go. This one here is another one that my husband brought me home. He went grocery shopping one day and just came home with this. And he was so proud of it because it looked like a tree. So I love this plant because of that. So it's just a Yucca Cane, but I'm really excited for this guy. And then the next one I'll show you guys is a Mike Ins, Philodendron Mike Ins. And I found this one at Home Depot. I found this at Home Depot shortly after Christmas. I actually left it behind, and I saw it again the next week. And I was like, I don't know, do I really need it? I passed it up a second time, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it. I finally went back and got it. So here it is. I'm excited for this one to start growing and trailing. You can see it's got some new growth. And this one isn't in super bright light. It's actually on top of this hutch you see behind me. So this room, I would say it's probably, I don't know, maybe 8 feet from the window. And then I also leave lights on for it all afternoon and evening, so it does get some artificial lighting. But otherwise, this room's kind of just like a bright ambient light. And he seems to be doing okay, so. And then I've got some succulents. So I am normally not a succulent girl. I have like the string of bananas and the string of pearls. But for the most part, when I see them in Home Depot or Lowe's, by the time I see them, they're really rough. But they just got a new shipment in, and I found some that were so exciting to me. So I picked them up, and we're going to give it a go. So this first one is the baby's necklace. And I have an app where I keep track of all my plants. And it's a cross between 2 different types of Crassula, but I cannot think of them both off the top of my head. So I'm kind of excited for this. I feel like because this is one that will probably end up trailing, it's not going to bother me so much if it gets etiolated from like lack of sun. That is my big fear with having succulents, is they get really leggy and weird looking. So I feel like this will do trailing type stuff and just look okay still. That's my thought process. The next one is this Crassula here. And I just lost a piece of it as I tipped the pot. This is called the Crassula, I think, Lycopioides. Basically, it's the watch chain. But in case you wanted the name to try and look it up like on Etsy or whatever. And this one just is another one that's kind of like a stacked Crassula. I don't know. I'm trying to make the camera focus so you can see it. There you go. So I kind of just like how this one looks like grass-like, and I just threw that piece on the floor. I'll see if I can get that back in the pot after. I wanted to give it a shot and see how it would do for me. And then the last little succulent I have is this guy, and this is a Portulacaria afra. It's an elephant bush, and I guess that it actually does make up like 80% of their diet. But I just thought it was cool because it looks like a little jade, and I know that they do call it like a mini jade plant sometimes. So I'm excited to see how this will do for me. And I've got these all just in like random terracotta. I collect these at yard sales and vintage stores whenever I see old terracotta because that's my favorite thing for the succulents. So I'm excited to see how he'll do. Okay, now this last succulent I'm going to show you guys is, it looks good now, but it was like carnage repotting it. So it's this Sedum Organianum. It's a Burroughs Tale. And this is the one with the more rounded leaves. And I got this at Home Depot. I'm going to try and tip this without, if you look at this wrong, these little things start falling off basically. You can see I got a little bald patch here where I've got some propagations in it. I also ended up, you can see that tray behind me, and that tray behind me is loaded up with the leaves that fell off repotting that. I lost so many leaves from this guy when I repotted him. So basically what I do is I try not to touch any of the leaves or stems. I guess when it gets dusty, I'm probably going to have to use like a little paintbrush or something. I think that my normal like showering them off method, I don't think it'll survive that. So I don't know, we'll learn, we'll see. And then I actually have one more to show you, and this was a piece I got off of Etsy. And this is a Ripsalis paradoxa. And I'll just bring him in closer. He's got such neat shaped stems. The Ripsalis and just in general the epiphytic cacti, they're like my favorite type of plants. I have a Ripsalis in the living room that is, no matter, he just grows the best out of everything I have. He just keeps growing, putting out new growth, and it just makes you feel good. So they are my favorite type of plants. I would love to get more. I'm looking at a Ripsalis, I think Bacifera, on Etsy, which is just a basic one, I think, but I don't have it, so. So anyways, this guy, I paid way too much for him too on Etsy, by the way. I paid like $30 to get it shipped and have a heat pack and stuff with it, so I don't know. But I like him, and I've had him since January, so far so good. This piece here, you can see I actually cut off of one to kind of see how it would propagate. I wanted to get a feel for it, and I figured if I lost it, I would still have some trailing pieces. So kind of like a learning thing. We'll see how that goes. So I have no idea how long this video ended up because I had to stop and start it so many times due to like, you know, ice falling off the roof and stuff. But that's what life. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm happy to kind of be back and show you guys a little bit what's been going on. Everybody, I hope you were staying in, staying safe, and I'll see you in another video.